welcome to the 1000 Author Show. I'm Vicky Fraser and this is my husband Joe.
Hello.
Hello. And today we're doing a very exciting thing, which I'll come to in a moment. We're starting a new podcast series, but it's not going to be as never-ending as the terrorist negotiation one.
Hostage negotiation.
Hostage negotiation, yeah. We don't negotiate with terrorists.
We negotiate with hostage takers.
Yes, we do. But today, what are we drinking, Joe? What are you drinking?
I've got a Red Bush tea. Red Bush and vanilla.
Vanilla Rooibos.
You see, I didn't call it Rooibos because I'm never sure how to pronounce it.
Rooibos.
Is that the right way?
Yeah, that's what Kenda says, and she is South African.
Okay. Hi, Kenda.
Hi, Kenda.
Rooibos.
And I am drinking rose tea. Which says, I am beautiful, I am bountiful, I am blissful. Which also fulfills one of my habits of the day, which is a positive affirmation. Because you know how I spend a lot of time being mean to myself.
Yes.
So one of my daily habits is to say a positive affirmation. So I am beautiful, I am bountiful, and I am blissful.
Good. Well done.
And I feel all of those things right now. Because I'm also wearing, for YouTube fans, lip gloss. Which I'm not usually a lip gloss person. But Jane, the organic beautician. Hi, Jane.
Hi, Jane.
I'm in her VIP beauty club, and this beautiful lip gloss, Dr. Hauschka lip gloss, came with it. And it's not my usual colour. It's darker than I normally wear, but I like it.
Very nice.
Thanks. I'm trusting, because I had to put it on looking at the kind of the video screen, so everything was backwards. So I was like, why is it not doing the right hand side of my lips? And then anyway.
Cool story.
Thanks. And Joe is feeling paranoid because he's got a patchy face.
Patchy face, badgeritis.
Because you haven't shaved for how long? Days?
I don't know. Long time. Many days.
Yes. Anyway, right. Today we are talking about, this is the beginning of a new series. This is number 1 in the 7 deadly sins of writing a book. And over the next 7 episodes, there will be some very tenuous links with the biblical biblical 7 deadly sins. But we're starting off with deadly sin number 6, and if you're going by the biblical list, which is Invidia.
What?
I know, right? It's a new word that I just discovered today. Invidia.
Is it?
Yeah, envy. It's the opposite of Mudita, because I wanted to write about Mudita, you see, and that gave me a whole... We'll come to that in a minute.
Hang on a minute.
2 new words.
You just bounced all over the place there.
There's going to be 3 new words for you in this podcast today.
What's the 7th? What's the deadly sin we're after?
Envy.
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 Yes.
Right. None of those other words that nobody understands.
Another word for which is Invidia.
Really?
Mm-hmm. We'll come to that in a moment. Right. But first, as per usual...
Confused.
Which is fairly standard.
Yeah.
What are we reading at the moment? Joe, what are you reading?
Well, I mean, this is becoming a bit of a thing now. I'm reading The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, except I'm not really reading it. I'm kind of... I read like 3 words of it when I go to bed, and then I fall asleep. I'm not making any progress whatsoever, and there's like 100 books. And
do you think maybe you ought to read one of the other books I've put in front of you?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I think you should. But also, I've been talking a lot over the last couple of days about striking the word should from our vocabularies, because it's a word loaded with shame and guilt, and it's just a bullshit word, isn't it? Should. You should do this. Really? Why? But you should read a different book. So I'm going to put one in front of you. I, on the other hand, am reading...
53rd book of the week.
Almost finished. Oh, no. I read a lot of books. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ensmall myself to make you feel better. We've been talking a lot about the patriarchy today, me and my friend Susie.
Fine. Well, I'm not going to feel guilty about my commitment to The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan.
You shouldn't feel guilty about your commitment to The Wheel of Time.
Stop trying to ensmall me.
It would be nice if next week's podcast could feature a different book that you're reading.
I think it's turning into an ongoing theme for the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm almost finished reading The Salt Path by Raina Wynn.
Right.
And it's great. It's really great. The very first few pages had me in tears because I can't handle it when people's pets die, or any pets die, or animals anywhere die, ever. But it's just really great. It's a memoir. She and her husband Moth lost their home. They became homeless, and it's a really good book for anybody to read. And I'm going to make my parents read it. Anybody to read who looks at homeless people and judges them for it.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you read the book and the reactions that they get from people when they say they're homeless and people like physically back away and assume they're drunks and assume they've got addiction problems and all the rest. And you know, a lot of people who are homeless do have addiction problems, and that's no reason to look down on them because it's a disease. Anyway, so they became homeless through just a series of horrendous bad luck things that could happen to anyone. And also, her husband Moth was diagnosed with, I want to say CDB. It's a degenerative illness that will kill him, basically. All at the same time. So that was like, woohoo. And instead of, they didn't know what to do, so they decided they were going to walk the Salt Path, which is the Devon and Cornwall coast from Minehead to Poole. It's like 630 miles of coastline. And it's her memoir of that walk and what happened to them, and it's just it's great. It's really great. It's really uplifting. I haven't quite finished it yet, so I don't know what the outcome was, but I love it. I would never have picked it up. It's for our local book club, and I'm really glad that I've read it and I've almost finished it. So that's it's not fiction technically, but it's my fiction choice. It's my non-business choice. Non-business choice. Yeah. And then my non-fiction book that I'm reading at the moment, I finally finished The Happiness Project, and we'll talk about that at some point, I'm sure. But I've literally just had delivered The Middle Finger Project by Ash Ambajay, and I pre-ordered it weeks ago, and I'm really excited. Ash Ambajay is one of my writing crushes. Okay. She's amazing. I've taken a couple of her courses, and she's got like a multi-million-dollar business. She makes multi-million-dollars from writing on the internet. Nice. Which is just ace. And she's funny, and she's got a business called The Middle Finger Project, which is just an awesome business name. And she helps rebellious women create amazing businesses. Cool. And so I've been waiting for her book for a while, and I'm really excited to start reading it. And I haven't actually started yet, but it's a beautiful, I didn't bring it in, it's in the house. It's a beautiful book, and I will wave it around in front of the camera next week. Cool. And talk about it a lot. So that's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that. But second, we've done the first. Second, we're going to be talking about Mudita, because... A what now? That's the opposite of envy. So, the word mudita is a Sanskrit word. Mudita. Mudita. Yes. It's a Sanskrit word meaning pure joy, especially vicarious or sympathetic joy, unadulterated by self-interest. So it's like the opposite of envy. So you know when you look at somebody else's good fortune and you think, oh God, and it eats you up, and it's like, oh, I wish I could have that, and it's like a negative feeling, which is why it's one of the 7 deadly sins, I guess. Mudita is the opposite of that. It's looking at somebody else's good fortune or achievements and taking joy in it just for the sake of seeing them do well. Okay. You know? And it's something that I have been actively trying to practice for the last few years, because it's so easy to become envious about stuff. And envy will eat you up inside, and it's just really destructive. Mm-hmm. And I think I first started thinking about this. I didn't know what it was called, and I didn't even think of it as being the opposite of envy. But I first started thinking about this when I started teaching pole a few years ago, because there are few things that I find fill me with joy more than seeing somebody who, when they started my pole class, couldn't even lift their own body weight. Mm-hmm. And then they get a move that they've been trying to get for ages, or they climb the pole for the first time, or they feel confident enough to put on a tiny pair of pole pants and go and do pole class, and it just fills me up with delight. And I think that was the first time I started thinking about it. It's like, oh well, how can I apply this feeling, how can I get this feeling in other areas of my life too? And so it was just a cool thing. So we're going to be talking about envy and mudita today, because and how they can hold you back or spur you on to write your book or do anything else really in business. Okay. But before that, I wanted to just share another word with you, because when I was mulling this over and kind of planning this podcast in my head, I was thinking, is mudita, what's the opposite of mudita, and is it schadenfreude? Mm-hmm. And I was like, it could be schadenfreude, taking pleasure in other people's misfortune, but it's not quite the opposite of it. But in looking at what schadenfreude was, it was like, it's one of those words that we don't have a word for that in English. Mm-hmm. We do have a word for that in English. We do? Yeah. A totally unpronounceable word, but a word nonetheless. Okay, go for it. Okay. It's epicaric... No, Epicaricacy.
Epicaricacy. That's not unpronounceable.
I practiced it like about 12 times before you walked into the office. Epicaricacy. It is an English word. It's the English word for schadenfreude. It means pleasure derived from another person's misfortune.
Okay.
Yeah. And we are bringing you this vital piece of information because, I don't know, it came to me. It's always good to learn new words, right?
Epicaricacy.
Epicaricacy, meaning schadenfreude. Oh, and there's a word that Sarah, one of my coaching clients, told me the other day in German. Pechvogel.
Pechvogel.
Yes, which means Pechvogel is the misfortune bird.
Okay.
It's the bird of misfortune, and I'm going to talk more about that probably in a daily email or something, which you can sign up for at moxiebooks.co.uk.
Yes.
You get all sorts of useless information like that in my daily emails. So, cool. Right, let's talk about what this podcast is actually about, shall we?
15 minutes in. What's this podcast about?
It's about the 7 deadly sins, number 6, envy. Yeah, we're starting with number 6, but it's number 1. The first deadly sin of book writing, envy.
Envy.
Or Invidia. Envy. Really easy.
How many times can we say envy?
Sorry.
Envy.
Envy. You know what? I don't think I've written down Have I written down the word, the actual definition of the word Invidia? Shit. Hang on a second.
Oh, man.
Invidia. Here we go. Invidia is the sense of envy, a looking upon associated with the evil eye, from invidere, to look against in a hostile manner. So there you go.
So Invidia and envy are synonyms. Is that what we're saying? Or
well, yes,
envy
kind
is
of.
from synonym.
A feeling of discontented or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions, qualities, or luck.
Okay.
So it's like a hostility and just a kind of destructive nastiness. And it's really easy to experience envy when we're feeling inadequate.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Do you ever experience envy, Joe?
I guess I envy things. No, not really.
Do you not?
No, I don't really desire very much. I'm a bit jealous of people who started doing the things they love younger and are better at them now. So things like the BJJ that I really enjoy.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I'm a bit annoyed that I didn't start that when I was 20.
But I mean, even that, we can talk about that though, because it's utterly pointless being annoyed about that, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. There's nothing I can do about that.
No.
That's like the definition of something I can't fix.
Which is why envy is such a pointless and destructive emotion. And I know, I do understand that, because I don't want to, and we're going to have to do a podcast episode at some point about the awfulness of saying to somebody, I understand exactly how you feel. Because generally you don't. But in this case, I kind of do, because like I see the kids who come to trapeze and pole classes and they're 15 years old and 14, and even the kids who are like 5, 6, 7 years old.
And you're like, God, they're going to be amazing.
And there was nothing like that when I was that age anyway. You know, so I don't know how, when I was that age, I don't know how one would have got into the circus.
No.
Other than being born
into the circus, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
So that's the kind of thing I envy, really, is when people have made really good decisions a long time ago and there's very little chance of catching up.
But would you have done that? Because I remember when we first met, you were an amazing climber.
Yes.
And you climbed...
Well, I was never amazing, but I was all right.
I thought you were amazing. But you because that was what you did every day at university, wasn't it? Instead of actually going to lectures, which is why you never graduated, presumably. But you didn't need to bloody graduate, because look what you're doing now.
Oh,
I know,
don't tell everybody.
Oh, was that a secret?
No, not really.
Yeah, and so you could have carried on with the climbing.
Yeah.
And you didn't. So it's like, what's important to you? Anyway, I wanted to talk about envy because I, quite often, not quite often, sometimes I will look at mostly with writers with me, because I'm a writer, and writers tend to be racked with self-doubt a lot of the time. But I have like a bunch of people, mostly women actually, because women are freaking amazing writers. And I would look at their writing and I'd be like, oh, I really wish I'd written that. And instead of finding joy in it, I just beat myself up with it. Be like, I'm not good enough. Why can't I write like that? Why can't I do this?
Is that envy?
Yeah, It feels like it to me because it's that longing for something that I don't have, or that I perceive that I don't have, and that's the thing. Is it actually true? Or I will look at other people's, perceived or other people's supposed success on, this is the
bits of it they show you.
Exactly, yeah, and this is the insidiousness of the internet and social media, is that you do only see insidiousness of the internet and social media, is that you only see that face that people show you, and you look at these overnight successes that have taken 20 years to build.
Yes, but you only heard about them yesterday, and boom, here they are.
Yeah, and every once in a billion you might get somebody who's genuine overnight success and they got totally lucky.
Yeah,
almost never happens. But yeah, you can. It's really easy to look at them and just think, I want that business. I want to be able to do the things they're doing. Oh, they're running retreats in Italy. Why aren't I doing that? And then you go, well, why aren't I doing that? Do you know what I mean? And so that was when Misty and I got together and we were like, yeah, God damn it, we want to travel more and we want to make, we want to do something that funds our travelling and adventures. And that's when we started the Breaking Bread Masterminds, and we went to San Diego. Awesome. Yeah, which are awesome. We went to San Diego in 2018 and we went to Portugal last year, and we're going to Republic of Ireland this year.
Nice. Which
is going to be ace. So, yeah, Envy.
Send us an email if you want to book onto that, by the way, folks.
Oh, hell yeah, because that's going to sell out. It's like a maximum of usually 6 people.
It's like half a dozen people.
Yeah, and it will sell out. It's sold out every single time we've done it.
Is there going to be sunshine?
No, it's Ireland. Like, I'm certainly not guaranteeing sunshine, but it will be beautiful and green. The Emerald Isle, you see. And it will be fun.
I'll drink Guinness with Berto.
Are you going to break Berto again?
He's not very good at beer.
I don't think you are anymore. We barely drink. So, yeah. And what we talk about, envy. Yes, one of the problems with envy keeps you stuck and it keeps you bitter, because if you look at what other people are doing, and I remember this from the times when I would look at other writers and be like, they're so much better than me. I can't do this. What's the point? And it just keeps you stuck. It absolutely it's crippled me. I would be unable to write anything. I would be unable to even think about writing anything, because all of the thoughts going around in my head were, well, I'm never going to be able to write like that. I'm never going to be good enough. What is even the point in having a thought, let alone putting it down on paper? And the thing about that is that I'm never going to be able to write like that. And why would I want to? Because
it's somebody else's writing.
That is somebody else's writing. It's somebody else's voice. It's somebody else's ideas. And envy is a constant comparison of yourself to others unfavourably. And it's not fair. It's not fair on you, and it's not fair on them either. And I realised this when I was talking to my coach, Mark. Hi, Mark, who does not listen to this podcast, I don't think. But if he does, hi, Mark. And he's Australian and he's awesome. And I was kind of this is one of the things that I was telling him. I was struggling with a couple of different things, and that was one of the things that I said, that I'd just been stalled by this crippling envy of other writers, and how I would read their stuff and just think, there's just no point. And who the hell am I to write a book about how to write a book when I'm just so shit at what I do? And none of which is true, but that's the way your head works, and that's the way envy works. And he pointed out that there were 2 ways to look at other people's amazing writing, and the first way is envy, which is destructive and crippling, and the second way is to look at what they're writing in terms of they're putting this thing out there into the world, to not just for their own benefit. It is partly for their own benefit, and that's fine, but to try and help others. And especially the people that I read, the people like Anne Shibani and Ash Ambajay and Susie Gray and Margot Aaron and Hilary Weiss, and they're the people whose writing I love. I love their writing. And there are other people as well, but they're the ones who spring to mind right now. And instead of looking at their writing and thinking, well, I'm never going to be able to write like them, you look at their writing and take the lessons from it. It's like, what makes their writing so great, and how can I take those things and then weave them into my own voice? And that's what he pointed out to me, that there are 2 ways of looking at things like that.
Yeah, you can envy or you can learn.
Yeah, and I love that. And that lesson is, because I remember my counsellor as well, my therapist a few years ago, saying that she one of the things that she'd learned was always to take a lesson from everything, not in a Pollyanna-ish way, not in like a always seeing the bright side of everything way, because some things don't have a bright side.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you take a lesson from even the worst things that happen to you? And she was talking about how her sister died from cancer, like really young. And there is no upside to that, there's no bright side to that.
Mm.
But the lesson that she took from it was that she was strong enough to deal with it. And she was strong enough to look after her parents while they were dealing with it. And so that she learned a lot about who she was and what she could cope with. And it just makes the bad stuff easier to bear. Or not, maybe not easier to bear, but
she knows she'll get through it.
Yeah, it makes you resilient. I think it's resilience is the thing. It's I don't think some things ever get easier, but I think you do become resilient enough to deal with them.
And confident that you will, I think. Yeah,
because it's really, when something awful happens to you, it's really difficult to see a future in which everything isn't awful.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you're stuck in that kind of, everything's awful, then you get to thinking, well, what's the point? And that's a really dangerous road to kind of start wandering down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
So what's the opposite of envy then? It's mudita.
Mudita.
Yeah, it's finding joy in other people's achievements, and that
is a much more pleasant place to be.
Oh my god, it so is, and it allows you to learn that lesson, and it allows you to just be happy about it, because I mean it's
you can see this successful person doing their thing, and you can go, wow, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and you can cheer them for no other reason than just, it's awesome. It's really bloody difficult to run a business. Anyone who tells you it's easy is lying, flat out lying. And so to see people doing well in any endeavour is really, really an awesome thing. And it's just a massive source of happiness.
Yeah.
And I just think it's really cool to see people doing well in whatever they're doing, whether they're running a business or in a job or whatever. And every now and then we do kind of indulge in a little bit of Schadenfreude, I guess. I know it's not quite the same thing. It's not quite the opposite. But generally, Schadenfreude just makes you feel like shit.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody does it sometimes. It's like if Boris Johnson falls down the stairs, I'm going to throw a little party. I am. But ultimately, it won't make me feel very good. Because,
I think have a little chuckle, maybe.
Yeah, maybe not throw a party. Yeah. Have a little chuckle. That was my petty side coming up.
Be nicer.
Well, yeah, but it's Boris Johnson, so fuck him, frankly.
Fair enough.
I'm fairly sure he doesn't give a shit what I think of him.
Pretty sure he doesn't.
So yes, I think that's probably enough on deadly sin number 1 of writing the book. Envy. It will kill your creativity. It will kill your confidence. It will make you miserable, and it will make you a less pleasant person to be around.
And you'll be missing out on the things you could learn.
Yeah, you'll be missing out on just that sense of joy of seeing other people do well.
Yeah.
And again, I think this is a habit. You get into the habit of feeling a certain way. We are just like a bundle of habits.
You do kind of get to choose how to react.
You do. You don't get to choose what happens to you, but you definitely get to choose how to react.
Yeah.
And you get to choose how to see things and how to frame things. And even if there's somebody that you don't like, and there are plenty of people in the online world that I don't like, you can still look at what they're doing and think, oh, you know what, good for them. It's not the way I would do it, and it's not the way I want to do it.
But
if it's working for them, fine, as long as they're not like actively cheating people, in which case screw them. But you know what I mean? It's like Gary Vee. I do not like him. I don't like the way he does stuff. But you know what? He does what he does really well. So
a lot of people do like it. Yeah,
a lot of people do like it, and it helps them. So whatever, go do your thing, and I think that's cool. But you can look at things that you don't agree with and think, fine, that's not for me. The lesson that I take from that is good for them. It's made me realise I don't want to do it that way, and I think that's really cool as well.
Yeah.
So what's the takeaway, Joe, from this week's rambling podcast?
Well, there's several new words, but I guess as well, catching yourself when you recognise that you are starting to feel envious.
Yes.
If you can spot that starting to happen.
Stop the rot.
Take it a different way, and just go, well, what can I learn about this? And actually, it's pretty good that person's achieved all that they've achieved, and they're writing beautiful things and they're helping people, or whatever it is that you're feeling envious of.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Well done. What can I learn?
Yeah, and also see it as it is possible. Especially because this usually happens when somebody's in a similar industry to you, or in the same industry to you, and they're doing something similar. And especially if you're struggling, it's like, you know what, it is possible. Look, it is possible because they are doing it.
Yeah, it is working.
Yeah, and you don't have to do it exactly the same way, but what can you learn from it? And
Yeah, I think just noticing your own responses to things is a huge start in all kinds of different ways.
Yeah, well said. Well said.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So coming up next week, Joe, what deadly sin are we tackling next week?
Sloth. We are tackling sloth.
Yes, we are. And this won't be too much of a tenuous link. It'll be a little bit tenuous.
There are going to be more tenuous ones to follow.
Well, when you think about what are the 7 deadly sins, what are they? Let's you should know this. You're a religious type.
Lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, pride.
So I'm not entirely sure how we're going to weave lust and gluttony into the 7 deadly sins.
I can do gluttony.
But I've
got.
Oh, you can write that.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, you can lead. Oh my god, you can present that podcast.
I can chip some thoughts in.
No, you can present that podcast, and I will be the sidekick.
I can't talk.
Good. Yes, you can.
Words.
Oh no, you are. You're going to do that.
Shit.
Okay, so you're going to do the gluttony podcast, and I'm going to be your sidekick. Wrath and greed and pride, I think.
I'm saying nothing in case you throw them in my direction.
It's going to be great. Oh, historical sins. What's acedia and vainglory? Sorry, I'm like going down a Wikipedia.
Yeah, watching someone browse the interweb is not...
Oh, okay, so the virtues are chastity, temperance, charity, diligence, patience, gratitude, and humility. Oh, I like those. So, gratitude. I guess, yeah, gratitude is a good thing. I write down a bit of gratitude every day. Because it's really
as the opposite of envy.
Yeah.
I'm
not sure it's the opposite of envy. Mudita is the opposite of envy, I think. Anyway, back in the room. What's going on in the world of Moxie Books? Well, all sorts of exciting things, actually. So I am currently writing an Audible original book.
Nice.
Commissioned by Audible themselves.
Sweet.
Called That's What She Said, because I am hilarious. I can't believe they went for that title. So I was like, this is a working title. We'll do. And they came back and like, no, we love it. And I was like, really? Do you know what it means? And I have been interviewing the most amazing women. I've interviewed 2 so far. Louise Blackburn. Hi, Louise.
Hi, Louise.
Who was amazing the other day. She came to visit, and that was really fun. And we talked for a long time, hours. And I've got some fantastic stuff. And then today I went down to Cardiff. And saw, that was terrible, I know. I went down to Cardiff and interviewed Susie Gray of Captivation House. Hi, Susie, who is another extraordinary businesswoman and who I've wanted to meet for ages, and we just got on like a house on fire, and it was really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was ace, and I've got so many more cool women lined up, and I'm gonna get them all on the podcast as well. When actually that'll be really cool in the run up to releasing the audiobook. I'm just going to do a series of interviews with all of the women from the book. So yeah, it's all about, stories from women in business, and yeah, I don't know. I'm still thinking about the exact direction that I want the book to go in, but I want it to be a kind of whatever age or position in life and society and race and whatever you are. I wanted it to be a book that you could take a lesson from and learn stuff and think, other people have been through this and it's difficult for everybody and you can make it work.
It is doable.
Yeah, but I wanted to do it through telling other women's stories.
Cool.
And
that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be so great. There's also some cool gossip been going on as well, which will not be included in the book. So, maybe some of it will be. So yeah, if you have listened to every episode, email me with your postal address and I will send you a special super fan gift. Oh, also we need to give a shout out to Joy.
Hi, Joy.
Hi, Joy. Joy from Taiwan.
Oh, hello, Joy.
Who has just bought my book and who has been listening to our podcast and loves the podcast.
What?
I know, right? And so I'd said, could you leave us a review, please? And she has left us a review, which isn't showing on iTunes yet, so I can't show you. But thank you so much for leaving us a review, Joy. We really appreciate it. So yeah, it's just really nice to have people email. Aww. Yeah, and people listen to us in Taiwan, which is awesome.
That's bizarre.
It's great. And yeah, if you listen to every episode, email me with your postal address and I will send you a ridiculous little thing.
Nice.
So thank you. And yeah, go and review us.
Reviewers?
Yeah.
Shout out to reviewers.
Shout out to reviewers. Yeah, you will get a shout out.
As long as it's 5 stars, obviously.
No, you'll get roasted if it's not. No, that's not true. You won't. You can review us whatever you like.
Review us honestly.
Yeah. If you don't like us, other podcasts are available. Yeah, and share it as well. If you like this podcast, share it. Send it to somebody who you think will enjoy it, or send it to someone you don't like who you think it will annoy.
That works too.
Yes.
Right.
Go to moxiebooks.co.uk/podcast, and we're still in the launch period of my book, so you can go to moxiebooks.co.uk/Feb 2020 book launch, and the link, Torture's link, will be in the show notes.
Nice.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
No worries.
We'll be back same time next week.
Bye.
Bye.